This is the inside of the IH Tio R. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here. Once we've done this, you'll see that it's displaying the time, and it's also indicating that we're currently connected to mains electricity. This one here is basically the main isolator for all of the onboard lights. These can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it has been drained down. Auxiliary button does absolutely nothing. This would be used if there was any additional items added to the motorhome. Temperature internally and externally just here. Condition of leisure battery, how many amps are being used, and then condition of the vehicle battery, and how much water is in the fresh tank. To alter the time, just hold this top button in, and as you can see it begins to flash, and then just up and down just here, and if I press again we can then move from the hour to the minutes. If I now move to the rear of the van, you'll see just here we have the controls for the Truma heating and hot water system. So if we start with the lower dial just here, this picks the power source that you want to be using to do either heating, hot water, or both. You'll see we have wavy lines and we have flames. Wavy lines represent mains electricity and flames represent gas. So at the moment we would be using mains electricity consuming 2 kilowatts. I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is very handy if we're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If we have no main supply, we can run solely on gas. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can run in dual fuel. So a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt, or a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. These two settings are very handy, especially in the winter months of the year, if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. But firstly, if I now go back up to main supply using 2 kilowatts, and now come up to this one just here, this picks what you actually want to be doing, whether it's just hot water on its own, heating on its own, or a mixture of both. So at the moment the system is in the off position. If I now flick up one, we're now heating hot water to 40 degrees on mains supply just here. This amber light here just comes on to indicate that you are running on mains, and this amber light here will eventually go out once the water is at 40 degrees. If I now flick it up again, I'm now heating hot water to 60 degrees. If I now return back to off, and you will see you will get a little flashing light. This sometimes occurs just to let you know that the system is going into a cool down period. If I now flick down to this little picture of a flame here, the flames up here do not represent gas, they represent the blown air heating system. So I'm now just running the heating on main supply at 2 kilowatts, and I control the temperature just on the inner dial just here. If I want both hot water and heating, we flick it down again, and you'll see we have heating and hot water at 60 degrees. If you are only using gas, you will not get this amber light come on just here, because this is only an indicator for main supply. Obviously you'll still get the amber light if you're heating hot water, and obviously it will then eventually go out once you're at temperature. And if it fails to light on gas, a red light will appear in this window just here. If I now come to the seating at the back just here and remove the cushions, and I now just lift up, you'll see that we have storage little cubby hole just here, and if I just remove this top cover just here, you can see the Truma combi boiler just there. To drain the boiler down for winterization, it's just done by lifting up this section just here. You will also see in this section the water pump just there. To drain the boiler down, it's just done on this yellow lever. Before draining the boiler, make sure that you have turned the water pump off, or otherwise as you're draining the water out of the boiler, the pump will be frantically trying to refill it. And then all you need to do is just flap up like so, and it will begin to drop all the water out of the boiler underneath the van at this point here. If you're fully winterizing the van, I do suggest that you also go around and open up all the taps as well, because this will help release any airlocks in the system and help it drain down far more efficiently. When it comes to refilling the boiler, reclose the drain valve, close all the taps in the van, fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the water pump, and it will then begin to reprime the boiler. Let the pump run for a few minutes and then begin opening the taps. They'll cough and splutter as they force the air out of the system, and then once they're running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. If you are running the combi boiler on gas, you cannot open this window here, as it will automatically cut the boiler out, as there is a pressure switch just here. The reason being is that the flue for the boiler sits underneath this window, so this just prevents carbon monoxide poisoning. Underneath this seating area just here is another storage area, but you will also find in here the trip switches for the van. So we have the two individual MCBs just here, and then the main RCD and test button. So if anything is not working on main supply, just check to see if you have tripped at this point here. Underneath the central part of the seating just here, you can gain access to the storage area at the rear. If I now move back to the front of the van again and just open up this cupboard door just here, you'll see we have a little fuse box here. This fuse box just comes directly off the leisure battery, which is just located just down here. And if I now move into the wardrobe, you'll see that we have the 12 volt fuses all along here. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. And then we have the battery charger just here. So this is what's charging the batteries when the van's connected to main supply. Also in here, just tucked up the top here, is the solar panel regulator. You do not need to do anything with it. It will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. And then also in here is the television aerial. So the digital amplifier is just here, on and off just here, and then you can control the boost level just here, but leave it set to normal. The mast itself is just tucked up here. Undo the collar to lower it and raise it, and this little red dot here represents the front of the aerial, so you know which way it's facing. You can flip it from a horizontal position to vertical for additional tuning if required, and all you need to do is just turn this tail. Always make sure that the aerial is down for travel. And if I now just move back to the rear again and just push down on this section just here, the Avtex TV will then just rise up. This is a 12 volt travel TV, so it will work when the motorhome is not connected up to mains electricity. It behaves like any other TV, so on and off just here. It also has a DVD player as well, USB connectivity as well. As you change location, the television will need to be retuned back in again. And with the Avtex TV, it's very easy to do. You have a fast retune button just here. Just press this. It will then take you straight back to the retune menu. Just hit OK. And then it will auto research back in again. Hob just here, and it is just a matter of pushing in, twisting round and pressing the igniter just down here. And then directly beneath that we have the oven and the grill. With the oven and the grill, as soon as you turn this dial here, it will automatically start igniting itself. So we have the oven just there. And then if I go back to off and then push the opposite direction, we then have the grill. There is also a light in here as well. Gas isolation taps just here. They are all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say if you do smell gas in the van, just go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. We then have the sink. And then directly behind me is the Dometic Fridge. So currently it's in the off position. If I want to run it on gas, just turn to the first one here. You'll see a little amber light appears. If it fails to light, it will continually flash to indicate that it's failed. It may sometimes just be down to a bit of air in the system, so just turn it off and turn it back on again and let it attempt again. If we have main supply, we can run on mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug just there. And then the last one is 12 volt maintain, which will keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. This will not illuminate until the engine is running. Temperature control just here. And then we have the freezer box just at the top. And the travel catch just there. Washroom. So we have the tabletop just there. The table leg is located in the wardrobe just there, and then that drops into the hole just underneath the carpet just here. We then have the Thetford toilet. To open to the cassette, just slide the lever across just here and then just push to flush just on here. Level indicator just here, so it will illuminate to let you know when it needs emptying, and then reclose again just here. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. Shower just there, and then if I pull down this section here, we then have the basin. And to empty it, just push backwards nice and slowly, and it will then drain off. Both front seats swivel, and as you can see, I've already swiveled the passenger seat round. They swivel round just on the lever just here, and then you can then move seat backwards and forwards. The other lever then just controls the back, and then you can do height adjustment on these two levers just here. The rear bed is very simple to make. Just pull this section across and then just drop the two backrest cushions into place.